Alright, this is the video that you have been waiting for. We have all of the numbers together. We finally have the RAV4 out for its first rental, and we have some numbers for you. So let's talk about the final cost to get the car on the Turo platform and have it out for our renters. Let's get into it. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another video. So today we're going to go through all of the numbers, all of the costs associated with acquiring our latest Turo car and getting it listed on the Turo platform and getting it ready for its first renter. Now, if you haven't watched the video before, go ahead and give that video a quick watch. I'll leave a card to it up above so you can click on that before you watch this one. But we did acquire a 2019 Toyota RAV4 Adventure, and I absolutely love the car. It looks amazing. When I say I absolutely love the car, I know it's going to be a rental car. I know there are things that are going to happen to it, but I am perfectly okay with that, and I am perfectly okay with sharing my joy with other people and allowing them to experience that car as well. Now, as I mentioned in the previous video, there is more to listing these cars in Turo than just buying the car and then listing it on the platform. As I've mentioned many times before, these are assets that you need to protect. So there are many things that you should be thinking about when you acquire these cars. You want to think about things like, how do I clean and protect my interior? How do I clean and protect the exterior? What kind of amenities am I gonna offer? What kind of extras am I gonna offer? Am I gonna buy a toll pass? So those are all things that you want to consider when you are purchasing a car and acquiring it and the additional cost that's gonna go along with it. So what I did here was I tallied up everything aside from the cost of the car, because obviously you can think about how much a car is going to cost and if it's going to make sense. Obviously, the cheaper the better as far as listing the car, but you do want to keep an eye out for your market and make sure that what you are purchasing is relevant to your market. You don't want to list a Tesla Model 3 per se if there are 15 other Tesla Model 3s that are listed in your market and nobody's picking them up. So that is a totally different topic in itself as far as doing the research to find the car that you actually want to list. For this video, I'm gonna go over everything that we bought for the car to get it completely ready and out. So this way, the overall process for this car will be the same as all of the other cars when it comes to cleaning it, when it comes to protecting it, all of those things. So starting with the very basics, we have a transponder. We bought a toll transponder for this car. It is a SunPass Mini, so it goes up on the windshield and it sticks to the window. That is $4.99. Next is the monthly wash pass. Now, we have a family plan for our car washes, so it was added onto the car wash family plan for $23 per month, but the initial cost out of pocket is that $23, so that's another $23. This car also came with all-weather floor mats for the driver, passenger, and the rear, but it did not come with the cargo liner for the trunk. So I like to protect our SUVs by buying a cargo liner, so we did buy a cargo liner for the trunk. That cost $92. Now, the floor mats themselves, if you are purchasing floor mats, they can cost anywhere upwards of $115, $120 to as high as maybe $250, $300, depending on the type that you're buying. When somebody talks about an all-weather floor mat, you immediately think of something like WeatherTech. I would challenge you to think a little bit differently when it comes to floor mats like WeatherTech, because I also use what's called Husky liners, which has a little bit flatter finish on the floor mat itself, which makes it a lot easier to clean. WeatherTech has a really nice dense material, but it also is very grainy. So dirt can very easily get into the crevices, and it gets to be a little bit harder to clean on a WeatherTech floor mat as opposed to a Husky liner. Husky liner, I can run through the car wash, grab a wet towel, and wipe it along the floor mat, and that cleans it up perfectly. So it's a couple things to consider when it comes to the all-weather floor mats, but definitely a must-have in every aspect of the vehicle that you can protect. Next would be the ceramic coating. Now, I buy Avalon King, and they usually cost anywhere between $50 and $70 a bottle. If you want to take into account labor, that could be anywhere between $100 and $200, including the product. So that also comes into play. I set it at $100 because this is my own labor and I know how much I'm going to be spending on the car. Next is the tracking system. Now, you can pay anywhere between $20 and $80 for a tracker. If you buy the product that we use, That one costs $30 for the initial dongle that plugs into the OBD2 port, and then it costs an additional $132 for the year if you want to purchase a subscription plan. That is if your car doesn't have some sort of a connected car subscription. Thankfully, our RAV4 did have a connected car subscription, so that costs $80 for the entire year for you to be able to monitor the car and be able to see whether it's unlocked, locked, etc. Now, the last part of this cost is something that was a personal preference of mine, and it's something that you should consider when you are listing these cars, because dealers have a certain checkbox, obviously, when it comes to selling a vehicle and whether they're going to put forth the money to fix something or not. And one of the things that a dealer may look at and may overlook and not spend the money on is tires. Now, if the tires are right at 430 seconds of tread, that is within spec of listing a car for sale. They can sell a car at 430 seconds of tread. Now, 430 seconds is very low. On Turo standards, anything below 430 seconds is not allowed to be listed. You would have to purchase new tires for the car. This car came in with exactly 430 seconds of tread. So we ended up going and quoting new tires for the car. We have a local tire shop down the street that we use, and they gave us a really good deal on new tires with road hazard, as well as a 3-year alignment on the car, and it did need an alignment as well. So between all of those things, that cost about $1,100. So that is something that, as you're looking for a car, maybe you are able to avoid taking on that type of overhead cost. For us, based on the spec that we were looking for and based on the price that we paid for the car, we felt like it would be appropriate for us to put those tires on the car and give it a fresh set of tires, a new alignment, and we should be good to go for quite a while. So all in, our total after we purchased the car, as far as buying all of these things for it, was an additional $1,400. That included the tires, that included the tracking devices, that included the toll transponder, the cargo liner, all of those things. $1,400 for us to get that listed on the Turo platform. Now you might look at that and be like, well, why are you buying a cargo liner? Why would you even bother to buy it if it's going to cost all that extra money? Or why would you bother buying a transponder pass? People can go through the transponder passes on their own. The part that you have to think about when it comes to these types of purchases is the long term as opposed to the short term. Yes, in the short term, that's a lot of money out of your pocket, but something like a cargo liner for your trunk allows you to clean the trunk a lot quicker and a lot easier. If somebody spilled something in the trunk, which can happen, you may have to pull out a carpet extractor, clean the carpet, make sure it's looking good. You're spending extra time trying to clean all of that up. If somebody spills something on a cargo liner on the trunk, all you gotta do is pull that thing out, throw it on the driveway, turn the hose on, rinse that off, and put it right back in. From a transponder pass standpoint, there are roads that bill as toll by plate, and you don't often receive those until many days after a rental has concluded, or sometimes even weeks. Then you have to go back and find out who the person was that went through that toll. Then you have to charge them. Then you have to collect the money. Then you go on to whatever the website is that is billing you for the toll, pay for that toll. If you have a SunPass Mini, it's one account, everything is coming out of it, and you're able to immediately see who the person was that drove through that toll and bill them within 4 days of the trip ending easily. Now, the ceramic coating. The ceramic coating is definitely something that I take a lot of pride in as far as the exterior of the car, and especially because these go through so many car washes. Maybe the ceramic coating is not being used how it's intended, because a lot of times if you put a ceramic coating on a car, they're going to tell you use a touchless car wash. We don't use a touchless car wash, but the protection on the paint, even if it's once a year, is still worth it to use ceramic coating as you drive the car through the car wash, so that there are no swirl marks, no scratches, any of that kind of stuff that can occur as you drive through multiple. Tracking, I think that's a must. If you are renting these cars out to people that you don't know, then you need to know where your cars are. There are unlikely but inevitable situations where you need to know where your car is, and you need to make sure that everything's okay. If you have to do a self-repossession, if Turo needs to repossess the car, if something else were to happen, you definitely need to be able to track your vehicle. Don't release a car to somebody without having some sort of a tracking device or some sort of a, plug-in or whatever the case may be for you to be able to track the cars. Now, I have seen some hosts use AirTags. I am personally not a fan of an AirTag only because it alerts somebody that uses an iPhone that an AirTag is with you and is being tracked. There are a lot of questionable practices going on when it comes to AirTags, that people are slipping AirTags into purses and things like that, to where I wouldn't want somebody to be freaking out and looking at their phone going, hey, what AirTag is tracking me? And now all of a sudden their trip isn't fun. We do disclose that all of our vehicles are tracked, so they know that the cars are being tracked and can be monitored for high speeds, for harsh cornering, harsh acceleration, harsh braking, those types of things. Now, when you buy tracking for your cars, don't be overbearing and looking all over it and then seeing somebody that's driving 82 miles an hour and all of a sudden you're worried because they're driving too fast or whatever that situation may be. I won't give you too much of a spoiler, but I am going to give you a situation next week where it is important for you to look at the tracking, and it is important for you to make sure that your lines of communication are open between Turo and the renter and yourself. So keep an eye out for that video next week. That one is definitely going to be a doozy. And lastly, the tires. I don't really want to end up in a situation where a guest has a blowout or a guest gets a nail in the tire and they now have to purchase a brand new tire. I would rather have fresh tires on this car that will last a very long time. This car did have 46,000 miles, so those were likely the original tires that came with the vehicle. So giving it a fresh start is gonna be helpful for both myself and for the renter, because now it's also protected by road hazards, so should anything happen to the car, I don't have to worry about that down the road. So that is basically my justification for all of these things. There is a reason for all of the purchases that I made. Yes, they do cost a little bit of money, but I want you to be aware that purchasing a car and just simply listing it on Turo is not going to really do very great for yourself, for your business, and for you to be able to protect your assets. So that's why I wanted to come up with this video today. So also, I told you I was going to have you follow along with the journey as it went through its first rental. And by journey, I don't mean my Dodge Journey, the RAV4's journey, no pun intended. But the car was purchased last week, Monday, and it finally went out on its first rental yesterday. So it did take us a little bit of time for that car to get listed. When we purchased the car on Monday, I did not list it right away. I made sure to fully detail the inside and the outside of the car, got all of the stuff that I wanted to get for it and put it into the car before it was ready for the first rental. So we did give it a few days in between where it wasn't available, but as far as turnaround, 9 days being able to get the car out, that's pretty good. Now that is gonna do it for today. Thank you all so much for watching. We really appreciate all the support that you've given to this channel and to the business. If you are looking for a rental in Jacksonville, visit achurentals.com. We have 8 different vehicles for you to choose from at the current moment and currently growing. So keep an eye out for that. Keep an eye out for more updates. And we have everything that you need, from small compact cars to multiple SUVs, everything in between, and giant minivans. Have a great day, everybody.